This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. After 3 months of trying to force Panama's military strongman into exile, President Reagan today backed down. A White House spokesman acknowledged that negotiations now are underway with Manuel Noriega, and the U.S. is no longer demanding that he leave Panama. Noriega also won around in court. A federal judge in Miami ruled that he can challenge the drug-dealing indictment against him without surrendering to U.S. authorities. More about all this from Terence Smith at the White House.
President Reagan has insisted for weeks that General Noriega must leave Panama. But today, having failed to accomplish that goal, the White House suggested it might settle for less. Spokesman Marlin Fitzwater signaled the switch in strategy, telling reporters, "Our policy is that General Noriega must go, which means leave power." Asked if a deal allowing Noriega to step down but remain in Panama would be acceptable in Washington, Fitzwater said, "We are willing to talk with him and see what his ideas and what his plans are." A top State Department official is in Panama meeting Noriega for the second time in 2 weeks and apparently discussing those options. At the White House today, the president sounded ambivalent.
Can Noriega stay in Panama if he leaves power?
I hope not.
That was in sharp contrast to what the president and his chief aides have been saying since the crisis began 2 months ago.
I'm just going to say what I believe. He should leave Panama.
The way to end this crisis is to get him out of the country.
I believe everyone who has looked at this believes that leaving the country is the most obvious solution.
The softening of that hard line upset one critic who was even suggested using military force to remove Noriega.
As a result of our failure to act swiftly and surely and to bring about his removal, we now have played into his hands.
Another member of Congress says the administration's actions so far have victimized Panama.
We miscalculated that the economic sanctions would work. They have not. They've hurt the country as much as they've hurt Noriega.
White House officials stressed that they would still like to see Noriega leave Panama and the hemisphere. Their new willingness to compromise on that point is a concession of the obvious, that everything they've tried so far has failed. Terence Smith, CBS News, the White House.
In the past, Noriega's troops have broken up big protest rallies, so today his opponents tried a new tactic. They staged more than a dozen small protests around Panama City. Troops rushed to the various sites and fired on the demonstrators with tear gas and live ammunition. No word yet on casualties. These were the first street demonstrations against Noriega in more than a month. A report out today by a drug panel from the U.S., Latin America, and Canada says efforts to stop drug trafficking have failed. The report says the focus should be on drug users, getting people off drugs or, better, never started on them. The panel said drug traffic will go up as long as people want drugs because there's so much profit in it for the smugglers. Those profits are so high, drug runners will do almost anything for a successful smuggle. Anything. Some die trying or kill others. As part of our CBS News investigation of what is and isn't actually being done about the drug traffic plague, CBS News correspondent Richard Schlesinger looks tonight at what the narcotics cops are up against, stopping the smugglers.
I just like a second home.